Alrighty then, everybody. Hello. Welcome to the Alex Cuesta Show. I hope everybody is having a lovely evening on this Wednesday, August 17th of 2022. Anyone keeping score at home is like, hey, didn't you just release an episode? Aha, we did. We had Zach Noble on the last episode. He is from the Noble and Rouge podcast on the Balls Life Network. They are the #1 show there, and it was a very good show. We were trying to have him on over the last few weeks. Only thing we could do was have him on Sunday. We did. It was an awesome show, and unfortunately, Dave was there as well. Hi, Dave.
Hi. Hello.
How are you?
I'm doing pretty well. I've been watching a lot of horror movies lately, and it's been a lot of fun.
Now, when you say horror movies, you mean like old school B-list horror movies, YouTube movie like stuff? Like, what are you talking about? The horror genre is gigantic.
Right now, I'm going through some more older movies. In fact,
you're watching it on Shudder, right?
Yeah, just recently I watched The Baby. The Baby's a really weird movie.
Not the baby, not the rapper. Just imagine just on screen, just the baby just kind of standing there like bopping around for an hour and a half.
No, but if you are not okay with some really weird stuff, I wouldn't watch that movie. I probably want to watch more of a slasher if you're okay with gore. But yeah, that I can't really explain The Baby very well. I'm not going to lie to you.
Now, tell people that don't know, tell them about Shudder. Where can they find it? What's the best way of going about getting it? To pay for it? What is it?
Well, you do have to pay for it. I actually use it from my one friend. He actually got it, and I use his. But it is an app. It is a streaming service. You pay for it, a subscription, monthly basis, and it's a very large collection of horror movies and very good ones in there as well. I mean, they have a whole entire James Cameron collection. They have multiple channels. So whenever you start it up, at least on my Roku, whenever you start up the app, it starts up on a channel, and there's 3 different ones. So there's one where it's just all Shudder exclusives horror movies. There's one where it's like old kind of like folk horror movies, and then there's another one where it's just a random mishmash, and it works just like a regular TV channel. So you'll just pop in like the middle of a horror movie, you can just watch it, and then
now,
from there go ahead.
Can you get like the well-known ones as well, like Texas Chainsaw Massacre?
Nightmare
on Elm Street, like all like the well-known ones, all that Halloween,
all those that are not like exclusively to another streaming service, they'll most likely have.
That's cool.
So they do have Texas Chainsaw Massacre. They have like The Thing. They have a ton of them. So I highly recommend it. If you do like horror, you will have a lot to watch, and they're adding things all the time. And the Shudder exclusives are usually pretty good. In fact, there's one I want to watch. I don't believe it was an exclusive, but there's one that came out recently. It's all stop motion. All of it is stop motion. It's called Mad God. I watched a trailer for it. It looks incredible. So
for more people, do they have like the Rob Zombie stuff and everything too? Because I know a lot of horror people love their Rob Zombie.
I cannot remember if they have the Firefly trilogy. I think they have 3 from Hell on there. So they should have House of 1,000 and Devil's Rejects. Awesome. But I don't know if they do. I have not actually looked for them. So
if they don't have I Saw the Devil on there, then it's incomplete.
I guess I haven't.
It has to be foreign. If they have foreign ones there too, then
they have a ton of foreign stuff.
Then it has to be, because that was like awesome. A huge one across.
They probably do. Asia. I mean, they have Train to Busan, of course.
Okay, that's cool.
They have a bunch of, even though I don't believe they have, which I don't know if you know. You remember the American movie Quarantine?
Kind of.
Where it's like in a hotel.
I believe so.
You've got a reporter that goes to like report on something, and they get trapped in the hotel with a bunch of zombies, and they get quarantined in there.
They always get trapped.
Yeah,
just don't go into buildings.
But that's an American movie that was based off of, I believe, a Spanish movie called REC, which is much better. But I don't.
And all of them are based off the COVID-19 pandemic, creating a bunch of zombies that just want to wear masks and listen to. Anyway, so that's Shudder. We gave a free promo to the Shudder app. If you like horror and stuff, it's it sounds cool if you're into that and you want to watch all the time. I like horror. I don't like horror that much. I'm not going to watch it all the time in my free time. I also have two young kids, so the only time I would have to do it is at night.
Start him young.
No. Anyway, before we get going into the fun stuff, like, share, follow, subscribe, rate 5 stars on Spotify and iTunes, spread this word of mouth, find us on the socials, go search the Alex Quest the Show. So, as we got horror out of the way, I had to do more promoting. There is a new show on the Opinions Podcast Network. We're actually officially a network, I guess, again. All the other shows kind of disappeared, and it was only the Alex Quest the Show. But we now have another show on the network. It is called Talking in Ovals. It is myself, and it is Dave Hyatt, one of my former coaches. I can't get away from the name Dave, but we're there. And as the name suggests, Talking in Ovals, we're talking track and field, throwing, jumping, the whole world of athletics, marathons. We're having fun. We're both track people. I ran track. He coached and ran. I coached. And we just like talking about the sport. And we know there are millions of people out there that participate, and there's a lot of fans of it. So we're trying to connect everybody to it. So go check out Talking to Nobles. We try to release on Tuesdays. So go look for us mostly on Tuesdays. We should be out. We just had our second episode with a great guest, Mike Rudd. He's a runner from UConn. He ran 145 in the 800. He's finished 6th at Worlds at one point in indoor. He's super talented dude, a great show. Go listen to that. Dave, I'm not even going to ask you if you listen to it, because not only are you not a big track fan, you don't listen to anything I put out. You rarely do. You are my worst fan of all time. You're not a very good person, Dave.
I mean, I only listen to so much, man.
And I'm not talented enough to be in that group.
No, you are. I just only listen to so much.
That's him trying to be nice and lying while we're recording. But anyway, so we're going to get into the stuff. We're going to go back and do a little more of our, I don't know if you want to call them roots. Maybe not, because Quest to Dos wasn't just this, but something we've talked about a lot, politics. We are jumping headlong, heavy into politics. Dave, I think we're waiting on one of the most important political moments of the year when Jesse Kelly drops the hottest woman in Congress, a bipartisan list. Lauren Boebert is the reigning champion of that list. I think AOC was in the top 3. I wonder if Lauren Boebert can hang on to it. Dave, do you have any odds right now? Who do you think is going to be the hottest woman in Congress? Because there's some runners. There's some good runners. There's Boebert. There's AOC. There's what do you call it? Ilhan Omar is in the running. It doesn't matter. She loves her brother more than anybody else. Who can you see? Do you think there's anyone that's breaking in right now?
I haven't paid enough attention to newcomers, so I do not know if there's many that are like actually breaking through to the top of the field here.
I'm going to throw a wrench into next year's, because Sarah Palin just won her primary in Alaska to enter in to try and win their sole seat for Alaska in the House of Reps. If Sarah Palin gets in, I mean, she had the MILF vibe when she was running for VP. Do you think that she jumps right near as a contender for the top of that list if she gets into Congress coming next year?
I don't know. I don't know if she still looks the same as she did when she was running for VP.
She still looks just fine.
They gave her, I will not lie, they gave her a lot of credit. She's good looking, but they gave her, especially, I feel like the Eminem music video for We Made You really gave her a lot of credit.
Well, I mean, they also made like porns with Sarah Palin in it. Like she became like that much of like a sex icon.
They make porns with everyone in it, so that's not surprising.
The greatest cinematic porn of all time is Pirates. If you haven't seen it, kids, go see it. Great cinematography. But
I don't know about that.
I actually I've never seen it. I've heard enough jokes about it when it came out that I just assume they're true because the internet doesn't lie. But we're going off. They do not. The Rings of Power is going to be great, right, Dave? Anyway, we're going to jump right into it. So I want to do a quick aside before we get into the main topic. So we just spoke on Lauren Boebert, and Boebert was made fun of. What is it now? Almost 2 weeks ago, when she put out, and I think it was surrounding this bill and other bills, that when these bills get out of committee and then they get out of the House or wherever it originates from, They should have the ability to have more than a day, 2 days to read some of these bills, comprehend them, and then cast a vote on them. Because some of these bills are 100 pages, 200, 300, 1,000 pages, and they get to the floor, and then they're like, next day, we're going to put it to a vote when they know no one read the bill. Absolutely no one read the bill. It goes by Pelosi's famous quote, oh, we'll know what's in it after we vote on it.
Mm-hmm.
She wasn't lying. She meant that. And the Inflation Reduction Act really isn't much of an exception here, Dave. I actually just looked it up, and people, it's this easy. All you have to do is Google, Bing, whatever the hell, DuckDuckGo, whatever you use. Inflation Reduction Act 2022 text. You have to write text in, or otherwise they're going to give you a whole bunch of fluff news articles that don't actually tell you what the bill is. Whether it's on the right, they're going to tell you everything they hate about the bill. It's on the left, they're going to fluff up everything they like. The only way to really understand this is to actually go and either skim through the bill, read the bills. When I was doing my Alex Quest the Daily shows, some of the episodes that people actually liked is when I was reading the bills just for an hour plus. And people were able to actually hear it because people don't like to read things. And fun fact for anyone that needs to know, on Microsoft Edge, if you go to your page, if you go and click on the three little dots up there, there's a read aloud function. You could just sit back and listen. You don't even have to read. You can just sit back and listen. So if you listen to podcasts like this one, if you listen to that type of stuff, you're into talk radio or anything, you can just listen to the bills. And that works on your PDFs. I don't think Google's gotten around to doing it. I don't know about DuckDuckGo. But this bill ended up being 273 pages. And Dave, I don't think they had more than 24 hours to even digest this. Now, I get it. They have staffers. They could split up the bill. They could say, you take the first 20, you take the next 20, blah, 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 write a report. But even so, is that enough time to digest? Was Boebert too far off? Like, why did she get ridiculed for saying, give us 5 days to read bills before we vote on
it? She got ridiculed because they want to pass it. That's the whole reason that she got ridiculed, because they said, "Oh, it's basically like, oh, you're too stupid to want to reduce inflation," even though they're not even calling it that anymore,
because it doesn't reduce inflation.
Exactly. So that's basically the play there. Is that how are like it's not that hard, like just reduce inflation, bro. Like that's really what the whole play is. It's dumb, and it's very easy to say no, you're stupid. That's all it is. Just ignore the argument because it's a dumb argument. You just say no, you're dumb.
So one of the things that the people on the right are yelling about is the IRS agents that are being added. I don't know if it's through this bill, or I don't know if it was just I don't know if the bill actually does it, but somewhere along the lines, whether it was an executive order or in this bill, 87,000 new IRS agents, ground agents, are being added. And people on the right are complaining about that. They're yelling about it. And I think that's, as they should. There's no need for 87,000 agents to be added. Dave, you know what the response from a lot of people on the left is? It's over 10 years. Is 8,700 agents a year any better, Dave? Is it really
No.
Is that an effective rebuttal?
No, it's not. It's not an effective rebuttal. And the funny, we've basically gone over this before, but the funny part is that if this was years ago, those on the left would be saying the same exact things that those on the right are saying now about the IRS or about the FBI, which is what we'll get into. But they would be saying the same exact things that are being said right now by the right.
And I have to say this, and it's not true for everything. It isn't true for everything. But for a lot of things, the non-establishment right has stayed fairly consistent. Whether it's been through talking about the FBI, whether it's been talking about the IRS, whether it's been, just government agencies in general. Years ago, people on the right would have been like, fuck the IRS. It doesn't need to expand. Mm-hmm. There would have been a little bit of a concert there where the people on the left would have been like, yeah, we don't need any more of these people. And it would have been kind of like that weird, like, aha moment, and then Congress wouldn't have done it. Because that's what happens. Whenever they see any sort of aha moment and people actually coming together, they're like, can't do that. Got to keep rifted apart. Throw this one away. So I don't know. if you have time, go listen to the Inflation Reduction Act. Like I said, 273 pages. It'll probably take a while to listen. The text isn't insane. It's legalese nonsense. It's all written in legalese nonsense. I will warn anybody going to read it. It's tedious, but at the same time, it's worth taking the time. So the next time you talk to somebody and they want to tell you, "Well, I read that CNN article," or "I read whatever," you could be like, "No, I read the bill, you moron. I know what's in it. Do you?" So that's the Inflation Reduction Act. I don't want to spend too much time on it. It passed, unfortunately. Biden's going to sign it, and we'll see. All of the no new taxes on people under 400,000. Good luck with that, people. Good luck with that one. I hope you guys all believed it. I hope you sleep better at night because you do. You morons. Anyway, so we're gonna jump into the next topic, and this one should probably send the shiver up everyone's spine. I'm not gonna lie. This might be one of the marks in history that we're going to remember if the United States changes for the way that it's going to and goes down the road that it will go if the left has its way. Last week, almost 2 weeks ago now, the FBI raided Trump's home in Mar-a-Lago. Trump was not there, but they raided it. They took a whole bunch of stuff. They took his passports, which he claimed that they did 8 days after the raid. They said they didn't. They called him a liar, and then they returned them to him. But this is and all the lefty news sources ran to the aid and said, "Hey, didn't do that." Then he returned them, and they were all quiet. But which has happened significant amounts throughout his presidency. They yell to the rooftops. They say they got him. He did this. He says, "You're all fucking liars," and then they get caught in their lie, and they don't even redact. They just move on to the next one. But yeah, so that happened. I don't know. I don't know if people realize the gravity of this. And I know people that hate Trump are like, "Oh, they're finally going to get him. He's a criminal." We do it. If he's a criminal, get him. And you will hear that universally. I think you'll hear that from his supporters. If he did a crime, if you have legitimate evidence of a crime, get him. We don't want criminals. We want them all locked up. And especially a guy that's the president, we'd want him taken. We'd want him taken to court. We'd want him locked up. Here's the problem here with this one. They let out the search warrant. He is being searched at Mar-a-Lago for taking essentially they're accusing the man of espionage. The acts that they are accusing him of in the warrant are 18 U.S. Code 739-2071-1519. You can look all those up. Law Cornell has the writings of them all. Some of them are shorter, some of them are longer, not very long, any of them. And essentially, 739 U.S. Code 739, gathering, transmitting, or losing defense information. So they're accusing him of national security, taking national security documents. And if you scroll through here, they're essentially saying for the purposes of potentially destroying or redistributing espionage. They're right in here. They're accusing the man of espionage, and then the next one, concealment, removal, or mutilation. Generally, this is the nonsense that they're trying to say, where staffers were flushing documents down the toilet, which did not happen. It did not happen, people. If you believe that, we can't help you. But this is basically just destroying documents that you think are going to hurt you as a person in power in government. The last one, U.S. Code 1519, destruction, alteration, falsification of records in federal investigations and bankruptcy. Again, more of the same. Essentially, it's a redundant one to U.S. Code 2071. Says a few different things, but you can go look them up for yourself. So the problem is, we went over this, didn't we, Dave? Didn't the archives, the federal archives, flat out say, "Hey, former president, you took things that you shouldn't have taken. Return them, please." And he did. From what we know, he returned all the documents that they requested. Am I right on that?
Yes, I believe so.
So what are they searching for here? what can they possibly like if the government agencies that are in charge of making sure that these types of things, these national security things, these top secret high sensitive things remain archived in a secure location, requested, was that Donald Trump openly participated with them, and we know that he was like, come on and come get them. I don't care, I'll return them. And now they're saying they have to go and retrieve these things. Dave, it doesn't fit. It really just doesn't fit.
No, it doesn't. And it mainly doesn't fit because it's been way too long for you to go and retrieve these things. Because if there was an issue, like we said, they went over it and he gave back apparently what he was supposed to give back in the first place. But let's say he didn't. This feels like it's way too long that they somehow missed it while checking these things, because I'm assuming they check it kind of regularly, for them to go, oh, wait, he still has something classified or something that he shouldn't have. Let's go raid him. Let's not even ask him. Let's just go raid him and try to get it. It's a really weird situation, and it's hard to pin down why it would happen the way it did unless it's explicitly political.
And, and this has to be, it's approved by Merrick Garland, obviously. The DOJ, the FBI works for the DOJ. And Dave, I can't see this as much more than Merrick Garland kind of responding to all the left criticism, because I don't think anybody on the left has been criticized lately more than Merrick Garland. He's not doing his job. He's not getting them. We have him. And I think this kind of might have been a knee-jerk response from Garland and the Biden White House saying, listen, we got some loose stuff on him. We think, he had boxes. There's a good excuse to go in, because this really seems like saying, hey, there might be a crime. Let's go see if we can find the evidence of a crime and then accuse him of a crime. Because they won't release the affidavit that they used in order to get this warrant. Merrick Garland DOJ has explicitly blocked that from being released. Now, I know there's a bunch of places going to court trying to get Freedom of Information Act to get this released. And I think there was a hearing yesterday. I don't know what happened from that hearing, honestly. Maybe we should look that up, Dave. But there was a hearing yesterday in a court saying whether or not they needed to release that. But that's fishy that you won't make public knowledge the affidavit. Now, I get it. They said that there's top secret material in there, that it might be sensitive. If they let it out, it would be far too redacted to be useful. You know what? I don't buy that. And one of the things that I think it's difficult, because I believe the art of the government redacting things is necessary, because there are certain things that we as populace should know on a national security level. But when it comes to certain things, there needs to be checks on who's doing the redacting, right? I think, Dave, it needs to be when it's something that seems this political, then there needs to be other parties involved. This maybe should be sent down to a committee that has the knowledges of these types of things, and bipartisan, they can work on what should and shouldn't be redacted. I don't know, because to me, it's ridiculous. And this really stinks of what third world countries do and what fascist, communist dictators do to eliminate their political rivals, because they want to yell and complain that Trump tried to get Biden to not run, to get Hunter in trouble with Ukraine because he was so scared of him running. What is this, Dave? They're terrified. And they're trying to do everything they can to make sure Trump legally can't run. I don't know. Dave, did you look up anything on that? Does it say anything about what the court ruling said?
No, not the least I've seen. But when it comes to redaction, I understand the need for redaction, not necessarily from the populace, but from any kind of outsiders that deem harm to the country. You want to be able to redact in order so they can't get it, because generally, if you're going to be doing something that you don't want the populace to see, it's probably because it's going to hurt the populace. Let's be honest. Definitely. But that's the thing, is the reason for redaction for me is so that an outside influence doesn't have any info that could harm the country. But I understand what you're saying, where the people doing the redacting have every reason to hide things. So who's to say whether they're redacting something that's actually confidential? But all in all, it like I said before, it just gets very difficult, especially in this way, to not send out anything from the affidavit, even though it might be redacted to all hell, because now it looks even more political because you're not being transparent at all. You just raided the former president who everyone knows is running in 2024. Every single person in the country knows he's running in 2024. So it's not from a completely unbiased point of view, I would think it doesn't look good. From a biased point of view, obviously we're like, holy shit, like this is pretty big. This is pretty big. This is not good at all. Like no one wants this. Not a singular person wants this other than those living in that kind of fantasy land where Trump has literally murdered like 17,000 puppies and a million kittens. So, but that's the thing is that everyone's like, okay, we all said it was getting pretty bad already. Seems like it's getting a little worse, and we don't want this. Like, we don't need this right now. There's no other country that we can go to if this shit goes south here.
No. And I just saw, so the hearing was set for yesterday at 1 p.m. So I don't think we hear anything back yet for them to hear arguments. So it was a Southern District Magistrate. It was a court down there in Florida. So I guess we'll keep on the lookout for what they decide. Obviously, it'll be huge news if they unseal it, huge news if they don't. But I think the issue with it here is if like I said, if they have legitimate reason to believe Trump was acting in a spy way, the right would support it. That's the crazy diehard Trumpers might not, because there is a fanatical element of Trump. And I think that comes with all of our recent presidents, to be quite honest. The cult of personality is insane. I love it when I hear people that wholeheartedly support Obama try and call Trump a cult. When you have people fainting, crying hysterically on TV when Obama ran, basically talking about him as like the second coming. Like, I don't want to hear a single thing from Obama supporters, honestly, about this is cult-like. They forget what the 8 years of Obama were like. It was incredible. But, it's scary. And I think another reason why they're terrified of him, Dave, is because his endorsed candidates have had a huge winning streak in a lot of primaries lately, Dave. I remember when he endorsed Eric and Eric won. And I forget where that was from. There were two Republican candidates running with different. Eric was the first name, and he said, "I fully endorse Eric." I don't know which one he meant, but recently, Liz Cheney just lost her bid in Wyoming, and she, along with Adam Kinzinger, have been the two biggest thorns in the side of Trump in terms of January 6th. They're the two biggest turncoat Republicans you'll see. And it's not surprising that Liz lost. Harriet Hageman, who is a Trump-endorsed candidate, defeated Liz Cheney. Now, Dave, do you think it was close? If you were sitting there and it was like you're not super political, and you heard Liz Cheney, incumbent, daughter of Dick Cheney, in Congress for a while, lost her seat to a Trump-backed person, what do you think? Do you think that
if I haven't been paying attention at all, then I would think it'd been close.
Yeah, in reality, it was 66.3% of the vote to 28.9%. And it's not like nobody turned out to this primary. Normally, primaries are in the low thousands. 113,025 people from fucking Wyoming voted for Harriet Hageman. Liz Cheney only got 49,000 people. That is quite literally 80% of the population of Wyoming. I don't know if I'm over-exaggerating. I'm not going to lie. I have no idea what the population of Wyoming is. But that is a huge number, and they only have one district. I'm actually going to look up what is the population of Wyoming, because it has to be a huge percentage of it. But she got annihilated. And I think this also terrifies what's going on and the people that are opposing Trump. Yeah. Dave, I really wasn't that far off. There's only 581,348 people in Wyoming.
Mm.
So almost a fifth of the population voted for the winner of that. That's huge. That's massive. That's massive. So they are scared shitless of Trump. Liz Cheney losing is big because now she's not on the seats. She doesn't sit on the January 6th committee anymore. That's big because she made headlines of all of her Trump bashing. So now they're going to have to turn to Kinzinger. And nobody likes Kinzinger. Kinzinger is the Eric Swalwell of the right. Nobody likes him. He's he looks like a douche. He talks like a douche. He acts like a douche. He's just a douche. So it's like nobody likes Kinzinger. He's going to sit there and try and make headlines, and it's not going to work. And there comes a point where you almost, I don't feel bad for them, but kind of feel bad for them. They deserve it. The Uniparty deserves it. The left deserves it. But it's like they are. It's kind of like, but I know where they were because for a long while, the right was flailing like this. They really had no message. They had nothing going. And it's like the left right now, like you're relying on saying that people that can change their mind at the drop of a whim over their sexuality are the most important people in the country. Like,
I don't rely on them at all. Are you kidding me?
I mean,
the thing is, they made their bed. They have completely made their bed. They have decided where they wanted to be. I have no sympathy. I have no reliance with. There's nothing that I feel bad for Kinzinger or Cheney for at all. At all. You have not listened to your constituents in any way. That's why you got blown the hell out with a legacy name in your state. That's the whole reason why you got blown the hell out, because you're not listening.
But here's the deal, Dave. You don't understand politics. You don't understand Liz Cheney. She's right there as a politician next to Abraham Lincoln and Ulysses S. Grant.
That is true. That is
if you heard her conciliation speech, she essentially compared herself to those two individuals, saying, wrongly quoting that Abraham Lincoln's one of the founders of the Republican Party. He's not a founder. He's an early member, but he's not a founder. And I don't even know what she said. She said something about like that he lost small elections before getting the big one, hinting that she'd run for president. Please, you know what, Liz Cheney, run for president because you would take votes from the Democrat. You would take votes from Joe Biden at this point. Like no one on the right is voting for you. You would take the educated white women away from the left. Please.
If she ran for president, that is the point where you make it as much of a reality show as possible in the primaries, because you will be raking in money with what Donald Trump does to Liz Cheney on a debate stage.
Yeah, honestly. And it's like, I don't know, Jeb Bush, are you out there? Please call your girl.
Yeb.
Call Liz and be like, honey, you don't want to do this.
Liz Yeb. That's the ticket.
Oh, my God. Liz Yeb. Oh, please. Or Buttigieg runs and takes a Liz as his VP. No, I don't know. And she's like, I'll run as an independent. She'll run as an independent, and she'll do whatever it takes, like to make sure Donald Trump doesn't get in office. Like when your whole reality becomes stopping one individual, you're not a representative of the United States anymore. You've lost the plot. You've lost the plot. So I don't know, Dave. We are living in a scary, scary place. And anyone that wants to sit there and say, like, I don't know, you could say we're wrong. You could say you want. Just go look up your history. Political opponents getting removed by the current regime is a 101 tactic of dictators. It's a 101 tactic of concealing and consolidating your power. And it's, what are they trying to do? They're trying to get rid of Trump because Trump leads a whole revolution of a new form of right, a new form of conservatism that isn't scared to be openly conservative, that isn't scared to talk about their openly conservative values, and isn't scared to go in a coalition with the libertarians who are open now, with the anarchists on the right, the anarcho-capitalists, which I hate the second term, but those people who are open about it. They all like some form of traditionalism in different ways. but they all agree that it's significantly better than leftism. So they'd rather get in power and debate amongst each other because it's all what they want for the good of the country.
Mm-hmm.
They love individualism. Bottom line is, all the groups on the right, even the people on the left that have come over to the right, because they're just your traditional Democrats, they all agree with individualism, the American dream, the Bill of Rights, the Constitution as they are written, and they all agree if we don't like the way it's written, get a fucking amendment up. So, I don't know. November can't come quick enough. And honestly, the next presidential debates can't come quick enough if Liz Cheney wants to jump on stage. But we'll see. So, my question to you, Dave, if they banana republic the shit out of Donald Trump, is DeSantis the only hope?
Yes, for right now, but I don't think that would happen. I honestly think everything that they're doing right now is going to be futile. I really do. I think it's all. I feel like it's all flailing at this point. All of it is flailing, and to be honest, I'm gonna say this right now: Trump is still our best option, for the main reason of this. Like, this is the story arc that needs to end. It's the best way I heard it put. This is a story arc. This is the way it needs to end. Is with Trump actually getting basically not revenge, but he gets the retribution from everything that's been put onto him. Every single time he's been found not guilty or even innocent of some things, because he's actually been found innocent of things, which is not always the case for people. So listen, I like DeSantis. I like a couple people from the Republican Party that I could think could be okay presidents at least. But overall, for me, it seems to be the best that Trump gets in there again, because no matter what you think of Trump, he wasn't this incredibly fascist, populist guy that was going to turn the country into some terrible, terrible place. It didn't happen. It simply did not happen. He didn't even make the moves to have that happen. He said some stupid shit, no doubt, but he didn't make any of the moves to make that kind of change. And what you don't want is the person that will make those moves that'll come after Trump or after DeSantis if these things keep happening to the people that are just basically listening to their constituents.
I will argue that Trump was the most states' rights president we've had in recent history. That he put more back to the states and away from the federal government than any other president we've had in recent history. He made some, like you said, he made some dumb comments and things I didn't agree with. I think he said a few things about maybe trying to force California to do things. He never did it. He blustered. But that did concern me, the fact that he even said it. It was like, no, the Donald, no. You can't force states to do shit. It's not the federal government's job. But yeah, no, I tend to agree with you that he's still the best bet, because you can't put anything past the left anymore. We thought it was a sure bet against Biden, and they actually took a dead man, and he's parading around. We have Weekend at Bernie's as the fucking president right now. It's terrible. They're just bumping him around, and people are believing he's actually alive. They throw shades on him, and he's good. But yeah, I don't know, but be concerned. Be very concerned. If your level of concern, if you're on the left and you're happy about this and you're taking a victory lap, your 833rd victory lap since Trump became president, where you guys, the walls are closing in and you finally got him, you're going to get everything you wished for and then some. Everything you thought Donald Trump was will eventually come around to you if you continue to go down this path, because you are but a pawn. Nobody cares about you. The people you are rooting for, the people we root for, don't care about us either. Don't get me wrong. We know they don't give a fuck about us on the right. But what I do know is they will do more to protect me and you and our freedoms. It'll still benefit them more than it benefits us, but it will keep us freer especially than what you're trying to do, which will undoubtedly and ultimately end up in all of us together living in fucking squalor. That's going to be my last diatribe on it. Dave, do you have anything else to say on this topic before we close it on out?
Not really. I I am kind of interested to see the direction this goes, because there's a lot that could go wrong here. And I will be honest, there's been plenty of moments that have happened before this where it's like, a lot could happen here. Like a lot could go wrong if someone makes the wrong move. But nothing this big. Nothing this big, I will say, I think, unless someone brings up something else. But I don't think there's been anything this big that's happened where it's like the wrong steps here, or if you keep not being transparent at all, like things get worse. Things get a lot worse.
And I'll say one last thing. I believe that they do this type of stuff to try and get the response that they want from Trump supporters, to show that they're just a bunch of psychos, they're a bunch of domestic terrorists. And the fact that they didn't get it when there were protests outside of Mar-a-Lago, and there were two protests showed up at the same time, one in support of the raid, one against the raid, and there was no major giant conflict there. There was no, I don't know if there were fistfights. I don't know if people got arrested. Oh, there's always things that go on when these things happen. But the fact that they keep doing these things, and you would think that a cult would respond very violently to their leader's home being raided for what seems like very political reasons. Mm-hmm. In a third world country, this would have led to bloodshed. Mm-hmm. This would have led to skirmishes. Now, there was a psycho, I think, that tried to break into the FBI headquarters somewhere. And that individual was arrested. That individual was taken. That individual was a psycho lone wolf. Mm-hmm. But there was a collective of heavily favored Trump supporters that gathered in front of Mar-a-Lago to protest the FBI raiding it, was met in response by people that were supporting the raid. Guarantee Antifa members were there. I'm sorry, people are like, Antifa's not real. Shut the fuck up, Antifa's real. But guarantee that there were people there, and the agitation was there, but there was no major conflict. Keep doing this. If you think there's something to protest, go protest it. Keep your head, keep your wits about you. Because they want us, they want the people on the right to be the Antifa left. They want the people on the right to be violent. Don't give in. There isn't a good enough reason to give in. Not yet, at least. I'm not calling for violence. But if the left gets their way, like Tim Pool says, it might be the Civil War might be coming. Nobody wants that except for the people in power currently. So I'm going to end it with that. They didn't get what they wanted yet again, and I don't think they're going to get Trump yet again. But if he was fucking spying, lock his ass up forever. That's how I'll end it. If he's actually doing a crime, lock him up forever. He's treasonous. If not, try again in another 6 months, you assholes. You always do. Okay. And that's going to close off this fun-filled show. This was the Alex Cuesta Show. As always, back at our normal time. If you enjoyed what you heard, like, share, follow, subscribe, rate 5 stars. Spread us word of mouth. Find us on Twitter, the Alex Cuesta Show. We should be back next week. I have no idea if we have a guest or not. If we do, cool, we'll talk to him. If we don't, cool, we'll talk amongst each other. That's all you're going to get from us. So, all right, everybody. Thank you so much for listening. So long, y'all.